So you want to be a stealth bomber, you want to be Bomberman in Outriders. Well, today I have a build that's going to have you nuking the entire map. Yes guys, this Bomberman build will have you guys destroying anything that comes your way, gives you a ton of survivability, a ton amount of power, and one of the most important things, it lets you play the Technomancer the way he's meant to be played by using his gadgets to its maximum potential. If you guys like how it sounds, let's go ahead and dive in and talk about this build. Like always guys, we're going to get started with the gear, and we're going to get started with the weapons. Theoretically guys, within the weapons, you're going to need two main weapons. Those are the only things you're going to need. One is going to be a weapon that you're going to use for straight out bossing and doing a lot of damage. The other weapon is going to be just so you can get certain buffs when you're doing certain skills, and we're going to explain it real quick. So I am currently right now running the Sunfall. I think the Sunfall is a very good viable option, as you get one of the most hard-hitting perks in the game, Firestorm, dealing 8 million damage, and then whatever you get from there is just like more icing to the cake, you know? It just becomes better. Mine has Stigmatized and Ultimate Storm Whips. Those are not a requirement. You basically just want something there that's not only going to enhance the anomaly power that you do, so Fortress would be a very amazing mod here. Shadow Comet would be really good here. Ultimate Storm Whip, basically anything that does a ton of damage. I think to me personally, the one that I would probably say would be the more beneficial one right here would be something like Firestorm, Fortress, and maybe something like Shadow Comet. Because with that Fortress mod, I'm going to be able to amplify the damage I have that, because that's just with shots. So that would be the ideal option. So this is going to use to start off pretty much every single encounter and take out a bunch of ads, and also keep that Fortress procced as much as you possibly can. Now this second weapon, one thing I did want to mention about this weapon, it's really important that your weapon has skill life leech, which I'll explain a little bit further in the video why it's important. And also status power, because that is going to give you a nice little buff. So moving on to our second weapon guys, once again skill life leech is extremely important, because from skill life leech we're going to be getting a nice little buff. But here guys, we want Fortress and Mage's Rage. Now this is not the most ideal weapon, because this is kind of like a tap fire weapon, the submachine gun. So if you can find any other weapon that has skill life leech and allows you to rapid fire like a LMG or an assault rifle, that would be the option. But the main thing you're looking for those particular weapons is anything that has Fortress and Mage's Rage, because we want to be able to proc Mage's Rage to do a lot of damage when we're doing boss fights. Okay, so it's extremely important that you keep that in mind. And that's it. That's for the weapons. That's basically all you're looking for. Now, in addition to that, guys, we're going to be using the Torment Downpour Goggles. Now, remember, these did get a nice little buff, and they changed the attributes from Status Fire from Skill Life Leech. This status power is going to be very helpful, because we are going to be applying a lot of freeze into here and a lot of toxin, allowing us to kick that up and ramp that kind of ability or that status power even more. So not only power, status power, cooldown reduction is really important, but not a requirement for your purples, okay? Here we guys, we have Euthanizer, we have more traps, which is going to give us an additional scrap grenade, and we have Anomaly Echo. So really cool here. The cool thing about the Torrential Downpour is that it's going to give the scrap grenade, right, and cluster. It's going to allow more explosion, dealing 3 million damage of the anomaly power scale damage, which is really good. As you guys see here, we have 3 million damage of our anomaly, so that scale is going to be very helpful for us. In addition to that, guys, we have the chest piece, which again, armor, status power, cooldown reduction. We have trap cluster here, which drops with the actual piece itself. We went ahead and put danger close here, which is going to give us just a little bit more anomaly power, allowing us to get that even more damage when enemies are close to us, making us clear those enemies really fast. This one dropped with Captain Hunter. Captain Hunter is not a requirement, but I feel like you really want it, because you want to make sure you melt bosses really fast. As you saw in the clip where I was showing you guys the gameplay, really fast clear guys without a problem. Next up guys, for the pants, we have Improved Coolant, which is going to allow your crowd turrets to double the fire rate when deployed, so that means they're going to shoot a little bit faster. And this one dropped with more damage. More damage is not that important and not a requirement, but what is an important requirement is Shatter, because you want to make sure you're dealing more damage against frozen enemies. Since your turrets are going to be pretty much freezing everything, even the bosses, you're going to want to make sure you have a lot of the frozen enemies getting that extra damage buff. Now, moving along, for the gloves. Now for the gloves, like I said, main important thing here is skill life leech and anomaly power. Cooldown reduction you could live without, but anomaly power and skill life leech are extremely important. Here guys, we went ahead and we modified and put double turret, so that's going to give us an option to deploy an enhanced turret with 2 barrels. So that means it's going to shoot more damage and more fire output. This one dropped with Radical Therapy, which is going to deal 8% more damage, and Virulent Compound, which is going to deal 10% more damage to elites affected by Toxin or Blight Fire, which is really important here. Not a requirement to get that Virulent Compound, but it's a very nice option to have. So if you're looking for gloves, you pretty much just want Radical Therapy and that Double Trouble. Anything else you could substitute Virulent Compound. It still would be a good amount of damage as long as it's anomaly focused mod. Next up, guys, for the boots, we have Anomaly Skill Life Leech. Once again, we went ahead and modded Cryo Turrets, which are going to be twins, so that's going to allow us to have 2 multiple Cryo Turrets. We have 1 supplies, which drop with this one, so it's going to give us additional mine. This is a requirement, and Untamed Power. Untamed Power is not a requirement for this particular build, but as long as it scales our Anomaly Power, it's really important. You can basically substitute this mod for anything that gives you Anomaly buffs. Now, moving on to the skills. For the skills, guys, we have Scrap Window, which is going to allow us to throw that Scrap Grenade. We have a total of 3 of these. No, I think we have a total of 6 of these, if I remember correctly. And that's going to allow us to throw the mines every 5 seconds. We have the Cryo Turrets on a very beautiful cooldown, 9 seconds. Basically, our Cryo Turrets are active all throughout the fight. Super easy, super fast. And, of course, Blighted Turrets, which is going to help us apply that Toxin effect and give us a nice buff. Now, for our class tree, guys, here is what we're doing, and I'm going to explain why we're doing what we're doing. So here, guys, we're picking up health. Main thing here, guys, we want to reduce the gadget skill cooldown. That's the reason we're going here. And we also want to be able to pick this one up right here, which is going to allow Toxin to become vulnerable, and this is going to extend the vulnerability, so making that enemy really squishy and really effective. Once again, guys, Anomaly Power picked up right here. Resistance Piercing being picked up here. Cooldown Reduction being picked up right here. More Anomaly Power. And, of course, the main thing right here is Adrenalize. Basically, when we activate a Decay skill, this is going to be our Blighted Turret, right? It's going to increase the Anomaly Power, which is what we want. So once the activation of that Blighted Turret is active, we're going to be able to get that Anomaly buff. Cooldown Reduction, Anomaly Power, Anomaly Power. Main thing here, guys, Team Player, it's going to decrease the elite damage against you and your allies. Not so important. I wish we could probably go a different route with this one, but we have to pick it to get to the entry here. More Anomaly Power. And this is what makes this really good, which is Ordnance skills increase Anomaly Power by 50%. So basically, when we're throwing our Scrap Grenade, then we're going to be getting that 50%. And then we have our Blighted Turret out. That's a total of 80% with that. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at our pack tree. Now, for our pack tree, guys, we're going a nice little route here. We're picking up this one, which is going to go called Initial Strike. Activating skills increases your Anomaly Power or Firepower by 10% for 5 seconds, depending on which of them is higher. Mostly our Anomaly Power is going to be incremented here. Then we have Lethal Devices, your Ordnance and your Gadgets. So basically your Scrap Grenade and your Cryo Turret are going to be inflicting Toxin to enemies and are going to deal an additional 5% Anomaly Power damage if Toxin is refreshed. Really important here. And we're also picking up Painkiller. Damage on allies grants you a 2% health regeneration. This is what makes this build really tanky, is because as long as we're doing damage, we're getting our health back. Our Cryo Turrets are effectively up every single time throughout the fight, so that health is coming back to us every single time regardless of the situation. Next up, guys, we have the Undying. For every 5% of your missing health, you're going to increase your Weapon Leech and Skill Leech by 5%. This is why this is really important, why I said Skill Life Leech is so important, because when we're missing health, when that health is being taken away from us, our Skill Leech is being incremented by 5%. And we have Overdrive. Your Anomaly Power is increased by 100% of your Skill Leech. So you guys see here, the more Skill Life Leech that we have, which is basically what we're picking up from our weapons and we're picking up from our armor sets, it's going to give us the advantage to have it. So our current bonus value is 41. The higher we get that Skill Life Leech, the higher that's going to go, the more anomaly increment we're going to be getting with this particular build, which is what makes it beautiful, right? All right, so now let's take a look at the stats, guys. As you guys see, Resistant Piercing at 40, Armor Piercing at 40, Skill Life Leech, which is our main important one. That is the one we want to be bumping up. The only way we're able to bump this up is either by being able to get one that has Skill Life Leech here and upgrading its nodules. That should give me a little bit more of that boost. But other than that, guys, that is how you want to go ahead and build this particular build out. Now, how exactly do you play this? To play this super easy is just about spamming your abilities. Main thing that I want to tackle you guys about how you actually want to play this is you want to make sure your Blighted Turret's out first before anything else, because you want to make sure that Toxin is applied so you can get that 30% boost. And then it's just a matter of throwing down your Cryo Turrets to make sure those enemies are frozen. So you want to make sure those two are proccing first before you throw your Shrapnel Grenades, because Freeze and Toxic are going to allow you to get that extra buff damage, because both of them are going to have Toxin and also Freeze. In addition to that, guys, one helpful tip when throwing your shrapnel grenades, you do not want to be aiming it at the actual enemy you're trying to kill. You want to be able to aim it at the surroundings, because the way the scrap grenade works is in order for it to cause that explosion, it cannot hit the actual target. It has to be by the target, but not hitting the actual target itself. So those are helpful tips that should make you play this build out very easily. As you guys see, guys, it's a super easy to play, super enjoyable, and a very fast melting boss one that you're definitely going to want to make sure you put in your arsenal. It gives you a very different way of actually playing the Technomancer, and puts the Technomancer into be one of the top tier current characters right now in the game. I hope you guys are enjoying our content. If you are doing the huge favor, guys, drop a comment, drop a like. If you want to see this build in its full action, level 41, make sure you guys check out this video so you guys won't miss how to run this and how easy and effective it is to run with this build. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.